Ladies and gentlemen, Sufis and saints, poets, dancers, and dreamers, tonight we gather to celebrate our dear, dear friend, Mr. Halim Dunsky. He is, we know him as our brother, we know him as our friend, we know him as somebody who is inspirational and in touch with the divine. We have gotten this beautiful chance to see over the last couple of years really him dig into that incredible space that taps into wherever that beautiful creative process starts. And Halim came up a little while ago and was like, guess what? I was like, what? It was a good moment over coffee, and he's like, my book is coming out. And it was incredibly hard not to do a dance right there and then because there was quite a large line. And whereas I'm notorious for doing them, it was going to be kind of large and obnoxious. So when Halim and I talked about being able to put an event together for those of us who really love Halim and are so incredibly proud of the work that he's doing, and to really put himself out there and that heart of his work out there, we jumped at the chance. And so I am incredibly honored and so excited to be able to bring up my dear friend, Halim Dunsky.
Wow. In honor of this exceptional evening, somebody maybe rashly offered to turn off the compressor for a while, and I hope that will be happening. Yeah. Well, hi, everybody. Hi. I'm looking out at people who have been in my family of blood, people who are long-time contacts coming out of the men's movement, people that I know from my Sufi circles and my peace dancing circles, and my friends from Whidbey Island, a couple of carloads of people who came down tonight, people I work with, people I don't know. There's even a guy here who I met in cardiac rehab. Thanks for coming, Charlie. You look great. When I started in that program, I found myself on a treadmill, and across from me was another guy on a treadmill. Now keep in mind, this is a program for people who have been through serious cardiac incidents or who are trying to avoid having one. So I'm here puffing and wheezing on the treadmill, and this guy in front of me is going, bum, 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 bum. And I looked at him, all I could think of to say was, I couldn't run like that if a bear was chasing me. But I've been writing. I sort of thought of so many different things that I could say to introduce this, but I think I'm just going to dive in. Well, maybe not completely, just dive in. Before I start, though, I want to bring up my musical friend, Bob Efforts. Where are you, Bob? Bob is going to provide some music to go with the poetry tonight, and we're just going to improvise our way through it. We've done a little bit of playing and reading together, and it inspired us to give it another try. So please welcome Bob Efforts. The book is called Weeds, Dreams, and Flowers. And in a way, this represents different phases of my development. I think of the weeds as a period when my life was spiky and tough, and then the dream phase as the transformations began to really make themselves known. And then the flowers, some of the results of this transformation have begun to open and blossom a little bit. At least that's how it feels to me. And at one point I was going to say, well, all right, we're going to have a section called Weeds, and a section called Dreams, and a section called Flowers. And then in one of those moments, it just became clear, no, that's the title of the book. And any one of these poems has aspects that belong in multiple categories. But it's kind of a journey that kind of goes from the weeds through the dreams and into the flowers. And I think we're likely to take a break somewhere in the middle so you can freshen your drinks and look at all the wonderful merchandise and buy some coffee from these nice people. Sometimes when change begins to happen, you know that something's happening, but you don't know what it is. Right? Give me something a little bit evocative, Mr. Efforts. A thin black ribbon, like a winding strip of asphalt, suspended in darkness, not bound to the known earth, carries me forward under an arch of darkness, from darkness into darkness. A thin black ribbon, like a winding strip of asphalt, suspended in darkness, not bound to the known earth, carries me forward under an arch of darkness, from darkness into darkness. Huge forms of incomprehensible shape pass at the edges of visibility, their contours only hinted by dimly glowing whispers of red, called up as though by coals that flare, slide, and vanish. Bridge building and demolition are rumored in distant flashes of hot light. Alien engines and their keepers are wielding the piercing torches of disassembly in a spatter of sparks not heard. Silent as an illumination of clouds, storm-lit from beyond the horizon. Little boy learning to stand suspended by the head, who will be surprised when you wither. Sad goddess, always recalling the sweet chocolate moon. Only blood time will unlock your mad beauty. White swan. White swan, you are so proud of your long neck, but my tears are longer. This heavy rock, which I call my patience, has many names. Beneath it, a great longing flutters. I had the opportunity to study for a week with Robert Bly. He asked me about, what are you trying to say here? And I would explain it to him, and he would say, write that. This one's for Robert and for all of our brothers in the men's movement. The need to weep is greater even than our own huge stories make it. The tears we have not let are seeping from the earth now, softening our footing everywhere. Are you standing on a dry spot? Not for long. Be careful where you step. Soon you won't have anywhere to go. I've done some experimentation with a form that I call haiku verse. I haven't really done the research. I don't know if there are other people practicing this form, but I have some poems where I've assembled multiple verses, each in haiku form. This is one of them. Open this with a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, a famous Vietnamese Buddhist monk, so much beloved. He says, "If you are a poet, you will see clearly that there is a cloud floating in this sheet of paper." If you see a cloud in this paper, signify by saying, "Poet." We have seen a cloud in this paper in our eyes, and we say, "Poet." Cloud, paper, eyes, heart. Say, "Poet," and disappear. Plum blossom, snowfall. How many of you remember, first there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is? This one's called Mountains for Donovan. When conditions are right, stay with me now, a certain angle of light, a certain level of dust and humidity, the color of the sky above the mountains becomes wholly the same as the blue of the mountain flanks below the snowcaps. At these secret moments of conjunction, all we have is an avatar of white peaks. The mountains are gone. In the empty space behind that floating, the heart can breathe. Trust the process. We danced in the ravine this morning amid a choreography of trees holding this little valley safe in the fogs of winter. A scratch in the earth perpetuating against the suburbs a remnant of slow time. We write in the cafe this afternoon, green stalks of gladiolus arch and angle, dance in a rhythm we barely remember. Luminous red flowers, bright trumpet shouts of blood move imperceptibly, open, reach, shrivel, and grow dark at a pace so slow only a lover can apprehend it. While we bathe in noise, while we shiver and vibrate, caging the panic with talk too loud, living too fast for our short time. These flowers, gone already, live longer than we do. I look around and I see mostly people who are probably old enough to remember Ann Landers. Remember Ann Landers? Ann Landers, many of you may also know, also had a twin sister, Abigail Van Buren. Both of them went into the advice column business. Dear Ann Landers, dear Abby. This one is for Ann Landers, and that introduction is the last happy thing you're going to hear in this poem. Give me something dark. Dear Ann Landers, I have this friend, see, who wants to know my friend had to kill his enemy. His life had flowed until it hardened to the shape of that act alone. That act, uniquely alone. In his hand, the base of a broken light bulb laid open that blocked, incontestable throat. His face was washed with blood. We really need, my friend, I need a gentler way of opening. Sweet Ann Landers, can your experts tell you where the mercy is kept? Of course, since that day, I've learned a lot about mercy and compassion. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. A lot of comfort there. How grim are your lips, morning dog walker, striding in your destiny. Poems can't get out when mind is turning, thumping like a clothes dryer. In Seattle, winter mornings begin black, lighten to pearl gray, then dove gray, then stay that way for the rest of the week. Fog water fills the hollows of the air. Fat raindrops like beetles strike my windshield. So many hunched shoulders hurry by. So many stiff necks push ahead into the cold, resisting day. As long as we are turned away from our true work, the day will spit us out. This is the same movement as our turning away. One thing. How's the sound balance of the music and the voice? You getting good? Okay. My life blows past like dry leaves and scraps of paper on a winter wind. Unpaid bills and debts of conscience swirl around my shoulders and race ahead down the narrowing tunnel of the future, where I will meet them later. The wind is impatient. It pushes at my back, but in my heavy coat I hunch against the cold. Collar lifted, fists buried deep in pockets, elbows pulled close. I begrudge each forward step. I'm listening for the vibrations in my solid body. I'm hunting the elusive frequency, that one that will render me transparent to the wind. I am not going to read everything in this book, but I will but I will tell you something. although I suffered for years the kind of hypercritical, self-judgmental thing a lot of you probably know in yourselves, some of you know it in me, somewhere along the line of putting this together, I crossed a boundary into, I like this stuff. And then, I like this guy. It was big for me. So I'm not going to read it all, but if you see me smiling as I go past some of these, you'll know that's what's going on. Something a little jumpy and peculiar. From a hidden boneyard, rising out of ribs, an ectoplasmic essence hovers, holds the recall of injustice, will not rest. And does this revenant travel to visit with nightmares the poacher's fitful sleep? He waves flies from his eyes and elephants from his dreams with equal unsuccess. Pay attention. This poem is not about elephants. Keep going with that same thing, if you would. We're making a video about Lot's wife, who turned back for one last look at what she'd been. I've wondered at her state of mind. Was she unsure, bereft, defiant? In any case, she's dead today. Skeletal and stark, all salt. I licked her, to be sure. The crew is all women but me. The director reminds me I'm not here to make love to Lot's wife, though Lot is long gone. At lunch, I tear white chicken flesh with my teeth. Lot's wife makes me shiver in the sharp lighting. We're showing her with ropes, hanged and fearsome, man's justice tagging after God's. I come close again to touch her cheek. She breathes. This one is called Deep Is Not Enough. A thin light comes through our window. Captain Nemo and I, we muse over brandy in our warm lounge. Surrounded by elegant appointments of brass and rare woods, golden oil lamps, brocades, and crystal. Outside, cold greens undulate quietly in a breeze that flows through the fingers of the trees. We descend through fathoms of cold leaf water. Our window spills lemon, draws the slow attention of the trees. They grow taller, making us deeper. They stare a while. They are cool. Their feeling is disdain. Engines of misfortune carry us into realms we endlessly penetrate, but never touch. We are protected. We are insulated. We are isolated. We are trapped. Birds swim by. starting to arrange here. It's a little scary. One morning, instead of waiting for the bus, I dropped down on all fours and crawled for many blocks. The ground was cool and moist. My eyes and nose were inches from the pavement. I sniffed through yards and gardens, meeting every little rock and plant. When I got up, I was covered with green from the grass and the moss. After this, a social service agency placed me in a foster home. They took me away from my wife and children. They said I was a mutant who suffered from being sad and sentenced me to play for 4 years. I found a huge wall of earth under a bridge full of numbered doors to explore. Let's not talk about everybody else's goddamn ideas. Let's not talk about how people this or society that. I want to hear about you. George knows what I'm talking about. I want to hear about you. I want you to talk to me from your soft parts. It's enough already. Enough clinging to the scaffolds around the pit. Don't waste my time with the shit around the edges. Quit protecting your asshole, asshole. I've got news for you. What you think is a little sore spot isn't about to just heal up and leave you alone. You're sitting on a volcano. If you keep farting around like this, you're going to be burnt to a cinder. Then all that's left of you will be an ash walking around in the shape of a man. That's your choice. Just don't waste my time. The fact that I'm projecting all this doesn't let you off the hook. Something tribal. Those of you I work with ought to appreciate this in particular. Inside my fine wool suit, I am adorned with paint, bright feathers, bits of shell. I stalk the corridors and prowl the cubicles. I'm a gifted mimic. My pallor is perfectly tuned to the fluorescent lights. I wield jargon as though born to the blade. I have convinced even myself that this is my place, though at moments a certain disorientation stumbles me, and I am puzzled to find myself barefoot inside my shoes. Craig, this is for you and Taylor and your younger brother who I just learned about tonight. It's called The Opposite of a Vampire. What is the opposite of a vampire? Someone you see only in the mirror, who fills you with life. That's how it was when I gave birth to my older brother. He emerged from my side, in the mirror, not in the room. Then he was standing beside me, a little taller and stronger, wearing a beard and a baseball cap. We were both smiling. think I'm going to do one more, maybe a couple more. We'll see, and then we'll take a little break, and y'all can stretch and freshen up your drinks, and maybe find some way to transact some nice business with these wonderful people here. But it won't be a really long break, and we'll come back before too long. It's hard to sit too long in a stretch. This one is called How It Is for the River. Some river music, maestro? We learn there must always be a space. Sometimes it may seem that a new thing is pushing its way in, shoving out the old. Chances are that's only the old in a new cloak. Rarely a new thing will flap against the screen door, flutter insistent wings against the window pane, land in your hair, startle you with the prick of its tiny claws, and fly away when you flinch and jerk your head. Most often, you'll never even know what flew by. You have to make space for a new arrival. A river only works because the water keeps moving. All the way along the line, each moment gives way to, draws the next. The part at the bottom moves into the ocean, making a space for all the other parts to move into, all at once, each part sliding into the space in front, opening up a space for the next to come. It's like that for us, but not so simple. For us, things come in clumps, and when we manage to get free of one thing, we find there was a lot of other stuff connected to it. And that stuff is gone now too. This is known as the clumpiness theory of the origin of suffering. Better than breaking free is to make a space poised in time, a space that is a still moment. Imagine everything still and in motion at the same time. This is transparency. When the river doesn't push at you every day, when you are moving at the same speed as the river. That's how it is for the river. What do you think? Do you want to stay with us another half hour? Do you want to take a break? Break. All right, let's do it.
What's that?
Could you just play something so that we can hear what dulcimer
Okay,
sounds
yeah.
like? That'd be great.
All right, let's do a little more.
Afterwards.
You all follow along, page 327. Hark the herald angels sing. All at once. All right, now you did it. We talk about random. I'm going to read you from some material that's not in the book. Once upon a time, anyway, I used to get lots of spam, and I noticed that the text of these spam messages would often be just jammed with word salad. I started collecting that stuff, and I've made it into a new art form that I call spametry. You may all be thankful that you get the opportunity here tonight, and further thankful that this is not stuff that gets put out in general, because really, yeah. All right, maestro, a little spam music. Very gold window, wrong, wrong. Coat, north, black tail, red brick, verse, special opinion, position, ill, turn, east, part form, part delicate. Even condition, though airpot after how broken, fertile shock, line right, shame, library talk, seat, will church, ink, meal, blade, property, bite, chance, be jelly, stick, blood, shoe, jewel, fire, art, ant, pleasure, look, quite possible. All right, let's have some spiritual searching music. By the way, actually, I want to wipe back off of that humor into a more serious note for a moment. Many of us learned today that Coleman Barks has just begun to recover from a stroke. And Coleman, of course, has been so immensely influential in bringing the poetry of Rumi out in this era, and of course with his readings and the whole art of musically accompanied readings of poetry have been tremendously inspired by his work. So prayers for Coleman. The trail is faint. Tall trees, my elder brothers, shape and hold close a rosary, bells of air strung for me to tell by stepping through them. Tall trees, my elder brothers, shape and hold close a rosary, bells of air strung for me to tell by stepping through them. Each footstep drops small rustles that quickly disappear like morning sounds drawn down into thick new snow. The quiet here is poised. The leaves have caught their breath. The forest is attending. On the hilltop stands an old house. It is bigger on the inside than the outside. There's fresh paint on the shutters, but a few crumbs of bread, long dry, lie forgotten on the dining table. The doors and windows have long been painted shut. The hammering of my fists, the tearing of my antlers against the walls brings no response. The bellowing of my mouth is ripped away by a silent wind. Inside, the house goes on forever. To enter, I must learn to slide myself across the smoothest stone, must curve my body round to that place behind the stone that is not behind the stone. There, in the pure moonlight, in the barest hint of sweet jasmine, the perfect master will give me nothing. Coming over the hill this morning, you saw the mountains flung across the sky, breastbones wide, creating space for the heart to expand, for lungs to fill with icy sunlit air. The mountains breathe at the pace of the day. Inhale with the sunrise, exhale with the deepening dark. When the breaths of your life bring you again to shaded city canyons, where towers rise up only for the bearing down, and cold air reaches in to suck the hope from your warm bones. Hold on, young man. The time for letting go is not yet. Breathe with the mountains. In an open field, the mauve seed heads dance above the thick, dreaming green. This is what you ate, and this is what you drank. Place credit card here. The place where my teacher sits is just across town, up at the end of Fremont Street, behind the substation. But getting there, I'll tell you, has been like pushing against a strong wind. To get from here to there, all I have to do is follow the map, cross the bridge, ride the freeway, turn here, turn here. The streets are in their places, and the map is in the glove compartment. But the going is in my mind, and my mind is erased in patches, like a city of tents in a sandstorm. I was reminded that today is International Women's Day. I want to thank the women who have been so important in showing patience with me, showing leadership of heart and spirit and wisdom. Many of our friends are coming into or well into our croning years now. Not all the way yet. And I want to thank my brothers who have been so courageous in presencing the feminine. So important. Bone woman, speak from the night that holds the separated stones. Join with your power the desiccated bones. From the night words dark make flesh. And from the dawn come again the dew leaping into light. Bone woman, speak from the night that holds my separated stones. Sing into life my desiccated bones. From the night wind's breath make flesh. And from the dawn come again the dew leaping into light. The one who says there is no life in rocks misses a lot. For example, it was a rock from the riverbed that drew to my attention the subtle-bodied entourage of allies assembled for my journey's sake. These are the members of my party. One long, sinuous fish at home in deep water. One reindeer demon for the laying of contradictions. One goat demon for the blowing away of smoke. One hanging sloth, drawing from each step its full measure. One single-minded crocodile, still. One frog leaping, and one fish flying, flickering, the same. One old, dusty donkey to carry someone else's burdens across a dry place. Back to the river, you rock, where cool water will flow again across your shoulders. We too are for the road. Long ago in the Illinois summer, lying on my back, I held to the round earth, arms wide in the green grass, almost spinning off into the endless blue, held up and held close by the cool warm along my body. Long after, I sat on a Scottish hillside, the scent of heather rough and sweet in my face. The wind drew waves in the golden oats, shining fur, a great earth pelt magically brushed against the grain. Tonight, I stand in the Whidbey dark, lifted in every molecule of my being by a chorus of frogs. Above, tracks of meteors lance through the black like javelins or good straight stitches. I've heard it said that some souls resist incarnation. Some bend their many lives to getting off the wheel of rebirth. Not me. I'm running right back in line again for another turn. Again, oh, again. These ravens are so hilarious, the way they squawk at each other, tease one another like kids in the back seat. Don't make me fly up there. Is that what you want? Do I have to pull over and stop the forest? Ravens arguing, each raucous note made of praise. Alhamdulillah. I'm dealing with something that I learned the other day is called the 100-day cough. Breeze stirs canopy. A few leaves choose this moment to fall together. Canopy rustles. Leaves fall all in their silence. Forest floor rustles. How quiet these woods. Be still. You can see and hear a single leaf drop. No world rolls under our 6 stepping feet. No man, no dog, no planet. A natural dog. He always takes time to stop and smell the roadkill. Walnut-sized stones in simple settings. Deep green, pale blue, dusky silver. Men haven't worn jewelry like this since the days of Atlantis. Forest green, sky blue, electric silver, marking a covenant of earth service. Why not husbands of Gaia, as we have brides of Christ? I think of Tom Bombadil, though in that great unpeopled forest, he had no need of jewelry. Wet grass, a lichened branch, a plastic tub, the road, 2 rusty pipes, air. We would have called it an empty lot, but we had emptiness all wrong. This one is called Map of My Heart's Desire. Turning a 250,000 miles away, one lunar crater, perfectly round, its edges perfectly sharp and small. How elegant, how clear. See the man in the earth, caught out of focus in one astonished moment of surprise. See his round eyes, round mouth, out of which vines will grow. Here a cut, a bruise. Here a terrier standing in the road. Here a centipede advances, planting many feet. Here a terrier leaping. See a man play and remembering to sit, pass through the Buddha. See the Death Watch beetle make his meal. See the Sultan on his broomstick. Fly, king. Here, a man and woman embrace. Bigger than Buddha and differently bent of knee. Watch now as the volcano blows. After the clouds of rock are gone, the quiet mountains remain, softly breathing. And when the mountains are gone, an empty space. Luminous veils drift in like sea foam without a sea. Galaxies form in white sprinkling. New stars come down. How many silver grays this day at the salt shore? 8 at least to glorify the clouds, 4 on the water, and for the coots 3, and for my head 3, and with all the others 1. When the air warms, rich smells rise out of moist earth, and I am home. Safe again, after long wandering, found again in a place I had forgotten. Now I will rest my boots for a time and sit while the grasses come up green and yellow around me. I will remember the young one who set out, and I will feed us both on the apples I have gathered. I am a pilgrim to the temple of your body. 7 times around your circumference I walk. I climb your 100 steps on hands and knees. I kiss each hollowed stone and touch it with my forehead. In the sanctuary, I make offerings of coconut milk, silver foil, and papaya. I set incense on fire. The shadows of the holy flames caress the domes and arches of your sacred architecture. Choirs of monks lift a shout to wake the dead. Woodpecker, saying his own name. Woodpecker, saying his own name today in a tree across the road. Rabbit, crocus, cloud, brief and briefer lives never leave eternity. You are seeking yourself among the trees. You seek a state. The state sought, a quantum state, oscillates, scintillates, titillates, plays peekaboo in the bright forest. Magenta, umber, turquoise, flecks and trapezoids, beak shapes and leaf shapes. Trunks and branches multiply in mirrors of your cunning and mistaken devising. While you seek, it hides. While you abandon seeking, it turns its back. When you are still, it is revealed. Custard pie! Coyote is a chicken thief. Coyote shits in my well. To break my mind is Coyote's delight. Does Coyote have a Buddha nature? Ow! Dialing down the spectrum of the world, I sit until I am a stained glass window with no stain and no glass. I am Coyote's immaculate fool. It's no good walking away into the sunset. There's no away. Dried flesh and picking crows, your final scene along that road. Your posture of sophistication is just an obstacle if you love the truth. Leave that childish game now. Come walking the steep road home. Carry the smoldering coal of your heart to the precipice of the sun and leap. I promise you will kindle in that moment. This only moment. I want to thank Tina Lear, who wrote this next one with me. It's called A Celebration of Circles. Today, again, the earth completes a circle whose ends do not touch. But I touch the ends to my beginnings and begin another circle. In the turnings of my spiral life, I am a wheel in a wheel in a wheel. Through darkness and through light, I spin and weave an endless song of praise. Alive on the breath of my breath, the breath of my moons, the breath of my seasons. In the center of the lung of God, I breathe. And I am exhaled into my birth and inhaled into my death. Today, again, the earth completes a circle whose ends do not touch. But I touch the ends to my beginnings and begin another circle. I've got one more. Before I close, I want to thank our hosts here at SoulFood Books, Craig and Taylor and Lily behind the counter and on the sound. I thank all of you for making this evening tonight, and in particular, special thanks to Bob Efforts on hammered dulcimer. Bob, will you give us a little afternoon music, please, to roll out? Yeah, just like that. when the afternoon wind pushes at tree limbs in the afternoon sun. The moving air gives speech to pine needles, cottonwood leaves. They know our name. They remind us that we cannot stay. The train and the river, they both go by, and they call to us, one moaning and one repeating, here, here. Why do we say that the sound of the train is a lonesome sound? Why does it tug at our hearts? Because the clank of the wheels on the joints of the rails is like the clicking in our own joints. Because the engine breathes and beats. We don't know where this great being comes from, or what it carries, or why. The train is disappearing into the distance, and so are we. But the river is always with us, always leaving, always here. The river tugs at our ankle and reminds us that we are already home. Bob Efforts.